Yeah! Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Ysn Poewr Hour, brought to you by our friends over at Toyota of Warren. DJ Yoakley with you. Thank you so much for being part of our show today and believing in us here in the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful facilities of athletics right here off of Route 7 in Columbiana. Athletics is the best place to train. If you're looking to get your game up to another level, take it to another level. If you're looking to get the best trainers, you've got to come here to athletics, check in with Mitch and the whole crew here. If you're looking to rent batting cages, turf, if you're looking to get better in hoops, they've got the Dr. Dish. They've got everything. They've got swing suites. And oh, by the way, they've got a concession stand. They've got us here at YSN, and you can get your body better as well in the main gym. It's open 24/7 for your pumping pleasure. That's my best Arnold Schwarzenegger, by the way. We got a great show for you. We got a great show for you today. One that you're going to want to watch. Certainly, we are going to get to the power rankings, which were released just a couple hours ago here on YSN. The top 25, and then we added 10 more that are on the bubble because, my goodness, Mike Swinehart is an absolute dog. And he believes in 10 more teams saying you're this close to getting in to the YSN Power 25. So we're going to break that down for you here in just a little bit. But before we get to that, we had a great visit last week. Haven't been able to get to until today. But Bob, wait for it. We're good. Bob Camardo from the Curbstone Coaches. Always. It was coming. That second one. I felt it the first time. Didn't want to. I digress. Bob Camardo from the Curbstone Coaches joined us and talked about what's happened over the last month, what's going to happen moving forward. Had him. We also have Tom Miller, who actually puts the banquet together each May for Curbstone Coaches. Talked to him for a little bit. He's got history as a ring judge in boxing, so we talked to him about that as well. Those interviews coming up in just moments. But again, want to remind you, head on over to ysnlive.com/live for all your updated links for what's coming on tonight. And wanted to remind you to start voting if you haven't already. The brand new Vantage Financial Plays of the Week here on YSN. The first round ends on Friday. So we're breaking out plays of the week. We have 7 this week that were nominated. So if you have a play that was that you want nominated, you think it's really good, a standout play, we want to make sure that we get that on here with the Vantage Financial Plays of the Week. Thank you to Vantage Financial, our friends over there. Brand new sponsor, brand new supporter here. The people that are behind Vantage have always been supporters, but certainly want to show their support and want their name to be recognized and put out there with what we do here at YSN. So we're grateful for that, grateful for more opportunities to put more students on another platform and essentially say, hey, here's a way to be noticed. So if you're making big plays, let us know about it. Certainly, if it's on YSN or even if it's not and you have it on video, send it over our way, and we'll talk about getting them nominated and get you up in your name up in lights. All right, it's time to talk to Bob Camardo. Again, this happened last week, so I apologize for not getting into it till now, but it'll be on the website presumably tonight, tomorrow morning, somewhere around there, and you can dissect it all you want. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Catching the Curb with Bob Camardo. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Catching the Curb, brought to you by Curbstone Coaches, DJ Yoakley, Bob Camardo on the hot seat once again. Bob, another great month for the Curbstone Coaches, and certainly we want to thank the ones that came before and highlight and look forward to the ones that come this month. So what do you got for us this week?
Well, thanks for having me again, DJ.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And as you'll see here in a couple minutes, I brought a special guest with me, but we'll go forward with that as we get closer. We started back the Monday after Labor Day, September 9th, and we had the first time we've done this, it was a high school football show, so to speak, and we had the three most tenured coaches in each county. And I'm going to try and remember off the top of my head, Dan Williams from McDonald, Bob Spade from Columbiana, and Sean Guerrero from
that must have been great
from Springfield Local. They were all great. They did a great job. A lot of questions. It was a good crowd. Then the second week we had Ron Strollo, and we gave him our check for the YSU Foundation donation from the Curbstone Coaches, and he talked about the state of athletics at YSU and so forth. September 23rd was supposed to be Bob Hannon, but he had to be out of town, so. Not a bad replacement. Dana Ballish filled in for him, and Dana talked about the high school football season and things that have gone on in his career. And then yesterday we had YSU soccer coach Brian Schrum. Brian is one of the most interesting guys you'll ever talk to. I don't know if you've ever spoken with him at all, but he's actually Dr. Brian Schrum. He's really intelligent. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's a lot of fun to listen to. So we've had a good month of September. And as we move forward here in October, next Monday the 7th, we've got Riley Jarrett, the new volleyball coach at YSU, and she's a real pistol. I've met and talked to her a couple times, and she's really working hard at turning this volleyball program around. Then Bob Hannon is going to make an appearance on October 14th to talk about YSU football, which I'm not so sure we want to talk about, but that's another story for another day. The 21st of October, we start getting into the basketball season. Melissa Jackson, the new YSU women's basketball coach, will be there, and she's a very intense, hardworking person. I've met and talked to her several times. Looking forward to seeing her there. October 28th, we've got J.R. McFarland, a noted track and field coach from over in western Pennsylvania. So a couple Hall of Fames over there and has won several awards, so look forward to hearing him. YSU men's basketball practices during our time slot where we have Curbstone, so I haven't been able to get Ethan Faulkner in October, but what I did work out with him is he's going to come and speak to us on Monday, November 4th, and that actually is the opening of the basketball season that night. There's a doubleheader, women and men, so he's actually coming on his first game day, so we appreciate that. I love Ethan. He's a great guy and, very intense. November 11th, we've got Dan Heiner, the new Vindicator sports editor, so we're looking forward to hearing from him. And then we just signed up some guy on November 25th by the name of DJ Yoakley to come and talk to us. So.
Nobody's showing up on the 25th.
No,
Get ready for Thanksgiving.
Standing room only crowd that day, I'm sure. But that's what, and we'll be filling in some more of that. But it's been a great start to the season so far, no question.
Incredible. I mean, when you had those three coaches, I mean, what was there had to be an incredible just question and answer segment with those three coaches, knowing their personalities and knowing usually I guess the usual suspects in the crowd.
Well, what made it great, I think, even more so, was that it seems to me like, and this is the first time I met any of the three of them other than Sean, that they really like each other. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of good banter back and forth between them, talking about playing in bad weather, and then this school doesn't do this right. I mean, they had some good stuff going on. There were some good questions from the crowd. We had some of the football officials, such as Tony Montana and some of the others there, that were kidding with them about them getting yelled at all the time during games and stuff. And it was a really, really good thing. It's something that I'm sure we'll continue to do moving forward.
And Coach Strollo, obviously the athletic director here at YSU. I mean, a guy that is great on and off the his out of his office. I guess you can't call it a court or field or anything, but when he speaks, I feel like everybody listens. He's got that Tressel-esque vibe to him.
He does, and he's another one of those guys that never uses any notes. He talks, off the top of his head, very fluid, and he's. I've said this before. He has been a great, great friend to Curbstone coaches. Anything, and I bother him quite a bit for, hey, this new coach or this person, and he's always answered me right away. He's got a million other things to worry about other than the Curbstone coaches, and he's just a lot of information. He does a good job of saying stuff without getting too controversial, I guess, for lack of a better word. But we always love having him there, and he always kids that he shows up only because we give him a check. So,
Mr. Camardo, you said you brought a special guest with us. Who do we have?
Well, we've had very, very successful, especially the last couple of years, which I want to take credit for, but I can't. Banquets, our Hall of Fame banquet, and you were a part of the last one, DJ, and it's always the first Sunday in May, and the banquet, I could say, is chaired by this guy, but it's not actually true. It's actually run by this guy. This guy, former world-renowned boxing judge, who is the chairman of our banquet committee, and he actually is the banquet committee. He makes sure everything runs smoothly. He's got everything lined up for like the next 30 years, I think, and he's just the best that there is. The organization doesn't run without him, and that's Tom Miller.
Tom Miller. We're looking forward to interviewing him. Bob, thank you as always.
Thank you. See you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Catching the Curb, brought to you by Curbstone Coaches, and we have a very special guest this time, a guy who Bob Camardo says that nothing runs without him, a guy that is kind of like Batman. He's always in the shadows, but always doing good for those in need. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we bring in one of the superstars of the Curbstone Coaches, Mr. Tom Miller. Tom, how are you, my friend?
Thanks, DJ. Thanks for the invite, too. Doing well, thank you.
I'm good. Well, it's great to hear that. And naturally for you, you are the go-to. You are the guy that makes everything run with the banquet. Let's start there. What year will this be for you in running the banquet?
This is my fifth year, my fourth year coming up on myself. I did with Helene Salrino, God bless her. She had passed away. Her and I did we were joint co-chairs for the banquet, and she taught me a lot, and I remembered it. And like I said, she had passed away, and I'm doing it on my own right now.
So for you, there's so many challenges that come with throwing together an event. I'm not an event planner. I've had to do a few in our day with all-star games and things of that nature. Nothing that holds a flame to what you do each and every year. What's the most challenging part for you in putting this banquet together?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it's been really flowing pretty good lately together. It starts with this past banquet the Monday after I started already. I had my speaker in place already. That's going to be Greg Pruitt next year, and I sent him a friendly text saying you're on the clock now for next year. But the hardest thing is probably working with the inductees. And by the way, I got my inductee selection committee all set to go. We'll be selecting the 2025 class on November 21st.
Awesome. They're
all ready to go. But getting a lot of the inductees, they have questions, and they're always afraid it's a bad question. And I babysit them. I said, no, it's a perfect question. Whatever you need done, can I get a table? Can I sit 9 at a table if possible? Fine. I got a 5-year-old niece coming. Can I take care of that? Fine, no problem. Bring her. She eats for free. We do that. Like I said, about the speaker, I'm already 2 years out. For all you Pittsburgh Steelers fans out there, in 2026 will be former Pittsburgh wide receiver Lewis Lips.
Hey, thanks for thinking of us.
I got to take care of the Steeler fans out there. They've been very faithful. They come to the program every year, and I got a few more Browns lined up. I got Kevin Mack sitting back up there. He wants to come up. Joe. I'm sorry.
It was Jim Leland, right?
Oh yeah,
Jim Leland was out there.
Jim Leland's Pittsburgh. I got a long shot for you Notre Dame fans out there, and that would be Rudy Rudiger. His speaking fee is outside of my range, but I heard he's not speaking lately, so he'd really settle for anything. So that's something way out there. Another former Steeler, for all you Steeler fans, and I got it through our this year's speaker, Gene Steratore. He knows Jack Lambert really well.
Wow.
Former monster linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I hear he's a good speaker. He shows no emotion when he speaks. He's just one of those guys. But when he speaks, everybody listens. So we got that working on. But I'm always working on somebody. I'd like to get a lady speaker somewhere down the line. I'm thinking of maybe a former golfer or something I might try to get, or somebody, a former basketball player. I'd like to get Caitlin Clark, but I'm sure that's a tough pay there.
What I mean, you said your range. Obviously, there's a monetary value that you have to pay for a speaker to come in. How challenging is that nowadays with inflation and things like, and not to get political, but like to have somebody come speak for 20, 25 minutes and no question and answer, no anything like that? How challenging is that to get somebody lined up?
It's so fun. Like, it started with Hanford Dixon, and I pulled up Hanford Dixon one time. I got Hanford Dixon Industries, so I got a cell phone number. So I called it up. I said, "Is this Hanford Dixon?" I said, "Yes." I says, "I'm Tom Miller. I'm down from Youngstown, Ohio. We have a Hall of Fame ceremony every year. Would you be interested in being our keynote speaker?" He goes, "Well, put it in a letter form and send it to me, and I'll get back to you." I says, "Okay, we'll see what happens." I wrote a nice letter, typed it out, sent it up to him. Within a week, he sent it back. He says, I'm interested." I said, "I could sign you up right now." He goes, "Put me down." I said, "I'll pay you this much." He goes, "I'll take it."
Wow.
And that was really good. And like I said, I had him, and he helped me get Greg Pruitt for this year. And then I also saw that coming to Austintown, it was past summer. Was it in July? I remember DJ at the Hollywood Gaming.
Yep.
That Hanford Dixon was going to be there with Lewis Lips from the Steelers. And so I got a hold of Hanford Dixon again. I said, "Do you know Lewis Lips?" Because I know him well. I says, "Can you put in a good word for me? I'd like him to be a speaker." And when I said it, I texted him. I said, "I should give you a finder's fee." He goes, "Yes, you should." But he was really good about it. And then I sent another letter to Lewis Lips because his address was given to me by Hanford. And he said he was coming down to Youngstown. He'll be at the Hollywood Gaming on that one Sunday in July. So I went there, and I introduced myself to him, and we talked for 15, 20 minutes, and really nice guy, class guy, said I'm good for 2026.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's phenomenal. Now, I hear that you're a world-renowned boxing judge as well. That's the rumor mill.
Yeah, that was 350 fights ago, 81 world titles, 24 regional titles.
Wow.
Yeah, it was something.
How did you get into that?
Back in 1992, I was helping Tony Majorana from Girard, who has passed away. He was a trainer, and I went to a Junior Olympic tournament. Junior Olympics is for kids who are 8 years old to 16 years old. They were boxing in the Lake Erie Association Junior Olympics tournament. And so what I did was I went up there for the show, and they said they needed a extra judge. And I said, "Tony," I said, "what do you think?" He goes, "Well, you've been around here long enough, you can do it." So my first fight was on a Saturday in May in 1992 when two 8-year-olds who were fighting one minute rounds. And it was so funny because when they were between rounds, when they go back to the corner, the trainers have to pick them up, put them on the stool. That's how small they were. Their little legs were dangling down there. They all had these nice little boxing shoes. And then I did that. And then the following week, a guy named Clytie Dunn, who was in charge of the officials, said, "Would you want to do this on a regular basis?" He goes, "Your scores were very acceptable last week." Because of that, not only did I do 8-year-old, the two 8-year-olds, I did about 15 other fights too. There were 16 fights that day.
Wow.
And so he said, "Fine." So I got into doing that. One time, I met somebody, Art Mayorga, and he helped me out, and he told me that, would you be interested in doing professional? So I said, okay. So I went to the state of Ohio. At that time, it was being run by Blackie Gennaro. It was the Ohio Boxing Commission. And they were located over there on the north side of Youngstown. So I went in there, and I said, "Can I have an application?" They said, "You have any experience?" I says, "Amateur experience, I have none. Pro experience." I said, "Okay, here's the application." Fine. So I gave it back, and then About a month later, I got called for a show down in Steubenville, and it was my first pro show. There was 8 fights on the night. My scores were all acceptable, and then I got rolling with them. So at this point, I'm doing amateurs, and I'm doing the state of Ohio. So my friend Gene Glenn from Cleveland, he said, would you be interested in being a judge for the WBO? I said, I'd love to be a judge for the WBO. So he says, we're having a convention. It's in Puerto Rico. It's in a month. You got to apply and send your credentials in, and you'd be accepted. So I did that, and I was invited to the WBO convention down in Puerto Rico. So I did all the paperwork. I went to the seminars and everything, and so I came back, and this was in 1994. So I had another fight in Steubenville, and they invited me to do a WBO title fight, middleweight title fight between champion Lonnie Bradley against challenger Lonnie Beasley. And I did that fight. My scores were acceptable. It was good. It was on USA Tuesday Night Fights. It was on that show, so I did good. So I was doing, now I'm doing amateurs. Now I'm doing State of Ohio. Now I'm doing WBO. So I got another connection. I'm at a fight show in Vegas and talked to a friend of mine from Connecticut, Glenn Feldman. He goes, would you be interested in doing IBF? I says, fine. Again, they're having the convention. You got to attend the convention. I was invited to that. I went to the convention. They liked what they saw from me. I went to do the seminars. I did well in the seminars. Lo and behold, 2 months later, I get my first IBF title fight. So now I'm doing amateurs, Ohio, WBO, IBF. A year later, same situation, Steve Weisfeld from New Jersey. Would you be interested in being a judge for the WBA? I said, sure. Again, you got to attend the convention. You'll get accepted. I applied, got accepted, went down there, did the seminars, did all the work together and stuff, did the talks with the officials. And probably that one was about 3 months later. I got a WBA title fight. Again, my scores were acceptable. Now I'm doing amateurs, State of Ohio, WBO, IBF, WBA. So I'm doing it, and about another year later, I get invited to the WBC convention. And that was in Mexico City. And I went down to do that. And when I got invited to that, again, I go to the convention, do the seminars, do the chats, and I was accepted there. And probably several months later, I don't remember, I got my first WBC fight. So now I'm doing amateurs, State of Ohio, WBO, IBF, WBA. And the last big one to get picked by was the IBO. They didn't have it. They didn't have a convention, but they needed an official for a fight in Pittsburgh. They had a IBO title fight in Pittsburgh. They said, "Would you be able to go down there for?" I said, "Sure, I'll go down there for you." So I went down there. I met the supervisor, and he gave me a nice IBF patch, and I put the patch in my pocket in my jacket, and I did my IBO fight down there. So now I got no more fights. You know, my wife says you can do the WWE as well. I says no. This will be it. So I'm doing amateurs, Ohio, and 5 sanctioning bodies.
That's incredible. All right, so from all, and this is going to be a tough question. All those fights that you saw, is there one that stands out to you, and why?
It was the second fight between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Marquez Jr. When I got there in Las Vegas, I was working this fight with Dwayne Ford and Jerry Roth. They were probably in their late 60s at that point. They were the 2 most outstanding judges in the world. And when I found out that I'll be working with them, it was great. When I got there, I met them. I asked them for their autograph. I had them sign the back of my score pad, and they autographed it for me. And that was a great fight. It was the second fight. So when they announced the scores, it was 116, 112, Pacquiao, 116, 112, Marquez. And I knew Michael Buffer was going to say the last one would be Tom Miller. And I knew I was a tiebreaker. And I scored at 115, 114. The biggest difference was Marquez was knocked down the one time, and so I had the knockdown. So it would have been a 114, 114 if he didn't get knocked down. But like I said, I was 114, 113 on my score. And I got to work with Jerry Roth. I got to work with Dwayne Ford. And my scores were acceptable to that night. I was not the lone wolf out. The lone wolf is if you score a round, you're by yourself. The other 2 had the other fighter. Every round, I was not the lone wolf. Those guys were lone wolf in a couple of rounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was a big one. I'll share this with you.
Sure.
My payday was $7,000 that night.
Good
too.
on you.
Yeah, so that was the biggest fight, and I had the Klitschko's in there, both brothers, the Klitschko brothers. I had Miguel Cotto in there. I had gosh, who was in there? I said Manny Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm.
He was in there. Miguel Cotto, he was in there. Evander Holyfield, had him.
Oh, wow.
Oscar De La Hoya, I had that fight.
Did you ever get a Tyson?
No, he was done fighting when
Okay.
when I was doing it. Yeah,
What about Kelly? Did you ever get a Kelly fight?
I did his when he was doing before title fights. I couldn't do his title fight because that would be conflict of interest
Oh, gotcha.
from living here in Youngstown.
Fair enough. All right, so you said you got a nice payday for the one fight. You don't get much of a payday, if at all, for doing what you do for the banquet. What keeps you coming back, Tom, year after year?
It's the challenge of, I like to see everybody happy. I like to see our account. We get some money in our account. We're able to do things, programs. We're able to donate some money to nonprofits in the area. And it's just, like I said, it starts the Monday after we're done. I will get a hold of next year's speaker and say, you're on the clock right now. And it's just the thrill of getting it done. Everyone says, how do you do it? I have a system, and my system works. And, they say, if you need help, let me know. I said, fine, thank you. But if you want things run the way you want to run them, you got to run them yourself.
No, that's great. Tom Miller, I can't thank you enough for the last 15, 20 minutes sitting here with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Great stories. We'd love to have you back if you
sure.
would be willing. Tom Miller, the GOAT of so many things. We're going to unravel this present here over the next few months. Tom, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, TJ.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. And whether it's simply, I got to watch my son or daughter when I was out of town, or we just love watching YSN. We love what you do for our son or daughter. So whenever someone says thank you or someone is appreciative of what we're doing, it tells me everyone at YSN is doing what we initially set out to do, which is shine a light on these athletes and help them kind of promote themselves. My name is Anthony Hartwig, and my sports network is your sports network.
Welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. Thanks to Bob Camardo, Tom Miller for stopping by last week. Apologies again for taking so long to get it on, but I'll tell you what a story. What a great story Tom Miller brings. Cannot wait to sit down with him again here in a few weeks, talk to him about, like everything. I mean, he told me after that interview, that was the tip of the iceberg. He can go a lot deeper on the boxing stuff, and he's got so many more stories. Thank you to Bob Camardo for bringing that and bring Tom to our attention. And certainly thanks to Tom for all that he does for these banquets. Again, if you'd like to get involved, I know the time coming up for nominations for the Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame. So go over to their website and make sure you're clicking on it and get your people nominated. That's the only way to get them into the Hall of Fame. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. People always go and ask them, hey, why is this person not in? Well, you have to nominate them. You have to get them in. There's some statistics that go with it that are into consideration. But probably if you think, this is the way I think, if you think someone deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, there's probably a band full of folks that think the same way. So, don't hesitate. Talk to Bob Camardo or anybody at the Curbstone Coasters. Just go to the website and nominate them today so they can be up for this year's Curbstone Hall of Fame, Curbstone Coaches Hall of Fame, rather, in May. So looking forward to that as always. And, oh, man, it'll be here before you know it. You know why it's going to be here before you know it? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we sit here on this Tuesday. It is week 8 of the high school football season. That means that we've been doing this for 2 months. We've been doing this for 2 months already, And week 1 will be here before you know it already. We're not even done with this season. And I think guys like Dana Balish are already planning for 2025. So with that, we are on week 7 of the YSN Power Rankings, and it's one of those situations we want to bring it to you, and we have a breakdown for you. We're gonna kind of break it down for you here today. See if I can do this right. Okay, that's not what I want. I would like this one. Can we do this? That's not the way I want it. I want this one over here. Hang tight. We're gonna get this right. There it is. That's what I want. All right. So with that being said, let's talk about the teams that are on the bubble. There you see number 35, Cardinal Mooney. Cardinal Mooney with a huge win over Cheney that propelled them into the bubble watch, right? Because people are talking about, well, Mooney's got this absolute gauntlet of a schedule. Well, they shocked a lot of people last week with that big win over Cheney. A blanking of Cheney. So welcome to the Bubble Watch, Cardinal Mooney. Louisville, tough loss to Canfield. Louisville was, I believe, on the bubble last week, but they were a lot closer to 25 than 34. And a tough loss to the Cards at home puts them on Bubble Watch, and with a matchup just around the corner with South Range next week, which potentially to me could be a bigger game than people realize. Louisville is at number 34. Number 33, Lowellville. Again, tough week for the Rockets as they fall to McDonald. McDonald with some high-powered action, and they showed it off against Louisville last week. So Louisville trickles down to the number 33 spot. And 32, it's Mineral Ridge. Ridge had a big week with a big win there at 32. And East Liverpool with it was an overtime win, if I'm not mistaken, last week. So they find themselves at the 31 spot. Mohawk over in Pennsylvania coming in at number 30. I mean, 29 is interesting because at 29, you've got Beaver Local. And for me, that was the game of the night. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. What a game between Hubbard and Beaver Local and some of the theatrics that came with it, the announcing that came with it. I'll brag on our guy, Michael McNuggies McKenzie. What a win for Beaver Local. Gets them close, but no cigar to the top 25. But they sit there on the bubble at number 29, right above them. And then there's a lot of people already in my inbox talking about why Hubbard is over top of Beaver Local after Beaver Local just beat Hubbard. Listen, let's break this down. We take essentially what is the Joe Idell formula, and we break it down further in a YSN way. Mikey Swinehart does his hocus pocus over the weekend and just here's our top 25. Here's your bubble. I mean, he can take it all the way through 60 if you want, or however many teams that we have that play football here in YSN. But you look at that, it's not necessarily, did you beat this team so you're above them? It's what have you done up to this point? And for Hubbard, they've done enough to be over top Beaver Local here in week 7 of the Power Rankings. This is where it's interesting to me because people sit there and point the finger all the time at us and say, well, you're just buddies with Hake and you're just South Range guy and East Palestine and da-da-da. Okay, let me tell you something. If this was up to me, right, and you're gonna beat me up later, I know what's gonna happen. It's already happening online. If this was up to me, do you think Valley Christian would be at 27 with only one loss on the year and some of the plays and players that they have and the ways that they've won? No, but it's the formula. We don't mess with the formula, right? Hake said it best yesterday. You want us to cook, I'm going to go grocery shopping too. I'm not going to let somebody else buy the groceries and I'm going to sit there and make the meal. Not happening. Valley Christian comes in at number 27, and I'll tell you, they're pissed off. They're upset. This means a lot to them, as they should be. But the reality is, you're playing D7, D6 teams. You beat Malvern, and all of a sudden we got a conversation. And Andy knows that. He'll sit there and tell you about it. But I think this helps them. That chip gets a little bigger on their shoulder. Agent Zero in the backfield. And probably, arguably, one of the best quarterbacks in the area right now that nobody is talking about, Dion Miller. Nobody's talking about him. He's a stud. He's got like an 80% completion percentage. Only one interception. I believe he's 16 touchdowns, 19 touchdowns, maybe even 20 touchdowns at this point. Absolute stud. Absolute stud. He's a danger. He is a weapon. And Valley Christian is a wagon. And I will tell you this, in my humble heart, they are higher than 27. But on this, that's where they project. 27. Cheney comes in at 26, and a lot of people said, wait a minute. Mooney's 35, Cheney's 26, Valley. Again, it's the formula. It's the formula. It's how it comes out. Lakeview comes in at number 25. What a game. What a game, Lakeview. And what a season, really, Lakeview's been able to put together. Youngstown East comes in at number 24. United in contention at number 23 in the EOAC, still at the top of the standings. I don't want to put anything, cart before the horse here. Pretty big game in week 9. Pretty big game in week 9. But if you're Valley Christian, you got a pretty big game in week number 8 against Southern Local. But United going to be waiting for the Eagles, the other Eagles, in week 9. Make no mistake about it. Canfield, 22. 22. Just when you thought the Birds were cooked, Canfield finds their way into the top 25 at number 22. 21 is McDonald. They just will not go away. The Blue Devils saying it with their chest. You know another team saying it with their chest? Avoiding a huge upset loss on Saturday? This team, number 20, Wyndham. Bombers just keep on rolling, baby. Gas still in the tank. They're still flying high. Wyndham at number 20 this week in the Week 7 YSN Football Power Rankings. LeBray, number 19. Springfield with a huge win. I don't care what anybody says. That's a huge win over Western Reserve. Huge. And it's 12-0 final. And people are saying, I don't know if it was as close as that. There's a lot of Western Reserve people saying, all right, we got to get our stuff together. But there's a lot of Springfield people saying this was not close. Just over 100 yards, I was told, statistically for Western Reserve. And that's a team that, we heard it all week. We've been hearing it all year about the three-headed monster. That's been impressive. The Tigers cage it up. The Tigers went monster hunting last Friday night, and they got themselves a dub. Poland with a big win over Niles last week, and now they've got Girard. And what should be the game of the night, certainly on YSN, when you look at this game, how this matches up, this is going to be one of, I think this could be the most watched game across the network on Friday night. Girard and Poland. These two teams are very evenly matched. They are look each other in the mirror, and you see the same person staring back at you. I mean, it is crazy. And I think this is one of the better matchups we're going to see in the entire NE8 all year long. You look at Orange. By golly, I was rooting for you, babies. I had you. I was looking for you, but I think we all knew who Perry was, and Orange learned who Perry is. And we knew. But it's one of those situations where I'm going to really, really try. Really try. Orange has been very good to us. Tim Porter, Rob Sainor, they've been very, very good to us. And I wasn't going to let them be swept in the picks. Naturally, I think we all knew what Perry was. Orange, though, I'll tell you what, If there is a most improved team and program, Rob, Tim, you guys got it out there. You might have a fight with Wyndham because that's they've been a weapon. They've been a really good team. Excuse me. They've been a really good team this year, and I think that when you look at Orange and Wyndham, I think you can look at two teams and say, wow, this is what happens when you believe in a program. You believe in doing the work, not just in the 10 weeks that you have during the season, but in the 42 other weeks that you have out of season. Kudos to you guys, both your programs. Incredible. Big Orange fan. I love the Lions. I love what they stand for. I love what YSN means to them and vice versa. So, it's hard to go against them. Sorry, Perry. It really is. I think we all knew what was happening. Kudos to you, TJ, for being a good sport. Gerard comes in at number 15. Again, there were moments during that South Range game that I looked around the press box and I'm thinking, uh-oh. If Gerard can maintain what we're seeing right now against South Range, this is going to be a problem. I mean, that Dominic Talone, he's good. Good footwork. Great ball that he throws. And I'll tell you what, they caught South Range off guard a couple times that really put them in a position to, dare I say, play spoiler in their own stadium. But that stadium has not been real great to South Range. Between that stadium, Arrowhead Stadium, and Gerard, which is beautiful, by the way, brand new turf. Well done, Coach Cochran. And then where they're headed this week, Bo Ryan Stadium, what I'm about to tell you is South Range never, ever, ever, ever that I can remember gets a clean game in. They never get that perfect game, that game that we see that it's well-versed, it's down. There's always wrinkles. There's always something. It's always choppy. It was choppy on Friday night. It'll probably be choppy this Friday night. And Gerard was there. And again, they go from South Range to Poland. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very, very interesting because I think there is so much athleticism in this game. So much. Gerard is big up front. Poland is big up front. They are physical, both teams. And again, this could be potentially the game of the night on the network and probably the game that most people are going to be watching outside of maybe one. Crestview with a big win. Again, 60 points. They're back. There's no other way to put it. Crestview is back. Don Perry has done an excellent job of bringing this team and finding their identity and getting them fired up week after week after week. But again, he's a guy, and I love Don Perry, that believes in the weight room. He's a guy that understands his kids, builds a relationship with his kids, has the coaching staff build relationships with these kids. It means something to play for the black and gold once again. And he's got these kids believing that they can be very, very special. And they are. And week 9, I don't want to look ahead again, but I was out and about yesterday at the Lake Club. You saw it. There's people stopping me at the Lake Club telling me I can't wait for Crestview against Garfield. I want to repeat that statement, okay? And this is no knock on any of these schools. There are people stopping me saying, I cannot wait till week 9 when Crestview plays Garfield. What I'm going to tell you is I am so incredibly proud of that because when you peel the onion back, just layer by layer. Number one, 8 years ago, that doesn't happen. That conversation does not exist, right? 8 years ago, there's one team in town, and they're going wherever the money takes them. Week 9 this week, oh, daddy, let me tell you a story. We have so many great matchups. So many great matchups. We got great matchups this week. We have great matchups every week. We have most of the matchups every week. So when you look at this, I'm so proud of this because Crestview and Garfield, two teams, two small schools that never would have been featured, now featured almost every week, wherever they go. And that's what I love about what we do. Because there's people that are excited about high school sports coming up to me and saying, these are the heroes of our community. We're excited to bring them in. We're excited to watch them. And the hype, the excitement about weeks ahead, like already marking their calendars for weeks ahead, that's where it's at. That is why we do what we do. You can email me and yell at our people and go on social media and beat me up as much as you want. But those moments right there, that's why we do what we do. Crestview Garfield, week 9, must-see streaming. The world's going to be watching. And I'm so happy for these student athletes that we have that opportunity. Cannot wait. Number 13, what Sam Torres calls the best team in Ashtabula in the 440. Pymatuning Valley. They sit here at 13. Then we talk about the number 12. We already talked about Garfield a lot. They sit there number 12. Potentially, they could be matching up for power ranking supremacy here. Not just MVAC, but YSN power ranking supremacy. Boardman comes in at number 11. What a great season DJ Doda has had with Boardman this year. So proud of him. JFK, surprise to no one. They're back. Coach Bente and the boys on the revenge tour, sitting at number 10. Archbishop Hoban, comeback victory on Friday night, down 13-0, end up with a 14-13 win. I believe they're all mixed together now. Western Reserve, tough loss. They slide down a little bit. Number 8, West Branch to number 7. Struthers at number 6. Devin Bram, again, I can't talk about that young man enough and what this offensive line's been able to do. Obviously, some injuries, some situations for Struthers this year, but they just keep on marching. And they got Poland in week 10. Poland has a tough end of the year, man. They drew the short straw in the NE8 this year when it comes to schedules. But they are not going to back down. But, man, I can't wait for that Struthers Poland game. Going to be great. Beaver, PA comes in at number 5. Their first year here on YSN, and boy, they are making an impression. Austintown Fitch comes in at number 4 after a big win over Maslin Perry. And then the other Perry comes in at number 3. That's what we call a segue in the business. Then we have number 2 and number 1. All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it from you. I mean, we're getting beat up left and right for these. When it comes to the power rankings, we're getting absolutely hammered because, well, according to some, yours truly is a South Range graduate, which I can tell you is false. And I actually graduated from East Palestine, as most of you know. I also and here's the thing, they're not even Ursuline fans, which I think is hilarious. It's just that there's so much favoritism towards South Range. Again, I'm going to repeat this after I cough. The way that we put these together it's with a formula. I don't have anything to do with it other than assigning the guy that puts it together. And he does a great job. Mikey Swinehart. Hero. Not all heroes wear capes. Remember that. So when Mike puts this together, he's a West Branch guy. And like he's putting you'd think that he would have, some favoritism towards the branch, and they're sitting at number 7. Then you got South Range at number 1 and Ursuline number 2. I'm going to tell you something. These don't matter a whole lot. This is for conversation. It's for entertainment purposes only. And really, it's a little bit of information. Right? It's a little bit of information because a lot of times we'll get kids that come in and say, hey, or parents more likely, not usually kids. It's usually parents that say, hey, why don't you split it up? Big teams and small. Well, that's what they do. That's what they do in their divisions. They break them up. We wanted, if all the YSN teams were in the same crib, who's crawling out? Who's the cage? Who's the cage match winner? And right now, this week, it's South Range. They're playing up. They're playing teams that are above them. I mean, the only one they've played that's below is Springfield. And they played a D2 team on their schedule. Girard now D5 with them. Poland D5 with them. But Poland getting wins. Girard's getting. I mean, that's how this works. You get those points, and then you accumulate, and all through the season, all of a sudden, South Range's schedule, because they play up 90% of their games, or I should say play even or play up 90% of their games, this is what it kicks out. So when Louisville comes to town, or I guess when South Range goes to Louisville next week, another big game, Louisville, D2, I think. I'm pretty sure they're D2. So when you look at that, if South Range gets victory, they're going to get points. So this could be if South Range, but Ursuline also has the opportunity because they got a dog schedule too. They have a gauntlet for a schedule too. So we could be seeing flip-flopping throughout the next few weeks, which I'm okay with. I absolutely love it because I think it makes everybody a little bit better. Everybody's watching a little bit closer. What's Ursuline doing? What's South Range doing? What's Perry doing? Perry could surprise a lot of people. Perry could. I haven't looked at the back end of their schedule, the 8, 9, 10, but man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch this as it goes. And again, that's all it is it's for fun. So I hope you appreciate what's going on out there. And at the end of the day, it's all for giggles, right? It's all for entertainment purposes and giggles. Anthony, I'm sure, went over the volleyball power rankings as well. We get a lot of Crestview people that get really angry at us because Crestview just continues to stomp everybody in the yard. But it's a situation where, again, it comes down to points and it comes down to conversations that we have. Football a lot easier because there's not much of a conversation. It's just, this is what it is, and then we go with it. Let's go. That's it. That's our show. That's we got one more important piece of the show as we there we go. Back to the big screen. Here we got comments. Oh, here we go. There's my guy. Hey, Steven, thank you. Appreciate you always. Love watching your messages because they're so nice. They're so kind. And you tell us if we're missing something, which we usually do. Mr. Hemberger, appreciate you. Appreciate you always. Thank you for supporting us every step of the way. Greatly appreciated. And I know it's for more than one reason. So thank you so much. All right, it is time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark? Presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical. Visit them on the web today at DickeyElectric.com. Here we go. All right, you may have noticed this beautiful shirt, this beautiful T-shirt, Westminster Broadcasting, that was given to me, my little alumni present from Mr. Gary Swanson. WCN on the sleeve on this side, Titan Radio. Come on, baby. Come on. 88.9 on this side. I don't know if you can see that real well. But why I'm showing this off is I had the privilege, the honor, and the pleasure of going back to my alma mater yesterday, speaking to the Westminster Broadcasting students, and especially the sports-related ones that love sports. What a ride! What a ride it was! Like trying hard not to get emotional about that because going through everything that we've gone through here at the network, and getting great supporters like Steven Hemberger. It's incredible. Coach Armini for president, by the way, hashtag. I'm with it. but speaking, it's always kind of weird in like pinch me moments, and if you've never had the opportunity to go back and speak at your alma mater, whether it be high school or college, it's eye opening. And I walked in and one of the coolest things was at the end of the day for me, it changed so much from, oh my gosh, close to 20 years ago. I graduated in 2007 from Westminster. And, the way that it changed is for the better. But the culture is still the same. The culture was when I went to Westminster, which is why I think I fit in so well and learned a new appreciation for why you go to school and college. Is it's for that education. It's for the experience. It's for the learning opportunities, obviously. What I can tell you is the hard work that I had, the work ethic of sports transferred over when I flipped over into the broadcasting only. When I changed my sights to my sports career is pretty much done as someone on the field. And then you look into the broadcasting side of it. I told them yesterday to take those lessons that you learn as an athlete, as a student athlete, and just as an athlete in general, the hard work, the determination, the learning from losing kind of situations, the moving the chains, the next at bat mentality, and take that into your profession, and you're going to go far. And to tell those young, 20-year-olds, there's freshmen, sophomores in that class, to tell these young people that are the future of my industry, of the industry that you're watching right now, was certainly special. Because if I'm being dead honest with you, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to however many people I'm talking to today. I'd never imagined that there would be 60 plus people that go out with us every Friday night and Saturday night and do what we do every single week. If I'm being honest with you, I never thought in my wildest dreams that we'd be chasing 15 million page views on ysnlive.com. If I'm being honest with you, I never thought I would live to see the day that my wife beams with pride wearing YSN shirts. When I walk into a grocery store and I see other people that I'm not even sure that I know wearing YSN shirts. But I can tell you one thing that I'm incredibly proud of. It's if there's one thing that I want to do more than anything with this platform, it's giving student athletes, it's giving students with dreams of broadcasting an opportunity to live their dream just like I did. Just like the people that supported me when nobody else believed in me. Giving them an opportunity to say, yes, you can. Yesterday was one of those opportunities. I'm grateful until the day I die for those opportunities, because some kids just need life spoken into them. Some kids just need opportunities to have their dreams be heard. And not just heard, but how are you going to get there? What's your dream and how are you planning on getting there? And as we sit here in athletics, I have that opportunity every single day. As we go to these shows, I have that opportunity every single night. And I'm so incredibly thankful. I know this was a longer spark, but I'm telling you right now, those moments, those weak moments that I have sometimes because we get beat up and I just can't sometimes let it go, or because it's been a rough day, and sometimes instead of just letting the scroll go, I stop and comment. That 1% obviously is tough, but the 99% of the time that we do, I'm so incredibly grateful and honored, and just still gives me goosebumps to think about how many people potentially we're helping get to the next level. The Stephen Hembergers, the 70 communities that we're in, and now to be in that Westminster community, certainly, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to our people, and I know it means a lot to Westminster with that give and take. So thank you. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for giving me a platform, giving us an opportunity to change lives and to make things better for you and for these student athletes. It matters. You matter. And I thank you so much for it. That's going to do it for our show. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to try to get Scotty Mincher on the show. It's been a minute for Mr. Mincher, the scoreboard general. We'll get him on the show tomorrow, and we'll talk about, well, we should talk about the Cleveland Browns. By golly, we should talk about the Cleveland Browns and see what they're up to. Steelers aren't doing that great either, so we'll see how it goes. We'll catch you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the network. Please, God, be safe, but we'll see you tomorrow. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network.